The other day I got a really good question, and it was, hey Scott, I've been in sales for a while, I've done a bunch of sales training, but I'm not seeing my numbers increase. What's the problem? I'm Scott Sylvan Bell. I'm coming to you live from the North Shore of Oahu. I am in Sharks Cove on a perfect day to talk about sales and a perfect day to talk about training. Now, here's the thing. I want to let you in. If you've been doing sales for a while and you're like, my numbers are stagnant, I've been doing a bunch of training, I've been reading books, I've been watching videos, what's wrong? How come I'm not closing deals? I gotta let you in on a secret. I gotta let you in on the real deal. At some point, you no longer need sales training. At some point, you no longer need, massive amounts of coaching. At some point, you need to implement. At some point, you need to put the rubber to the road and make sure that something happens. And I see this happen a lot with salespeople in various forms. And one of the forms is in a room, they can role play everything out that they need to do. In a room, they've got it down. They'll come in and role play with me, but out in the field, it's a train wreck. It's a mess. It's a show, right? It's not really the right thing. And it's because they're not really implementing out in the field. And I see this happen, and companies will call me and say, hey, Scott, I need you to come work with my guys, and here's where they're struggling. And I'll work with them. They know their stuff, but what it really comes down to is no implementation. So in the world of sales, you have to implement. You have to get done what you're going to do. And there's this thing called information spinning. And information spinning is where you buy one book, and you're like, all right, I read the book. There's a lot of good stuff. Took some notes. Cool. I made this mistake. Hey, I'm Scott. I made this mistake. This is how I know about it, right? And I was like, I never really implemented. I'd take all the notes, but I wouldn't implement. And then I would get another book, and I'd take all the notes, and it was all locked up here in the mental vault. It was all locked up here in the brain, but I wouldn't do anything with it. So then I just had these reams and reams of notes. So in the beginning, I was the 10th worst salesperson on the planet. It was horrible. Wasn't good at what I did. Wasn't able to close deals. Telling you straight up, not good, right? This is what I did. I would take the notes, but I wouldn't implement the right way. I would use personality to sell. And you know what? You are going to get a piece of the pie when you use personality to sell, but you're not going to close every deal that you can, okay? So at some point, you have to implement. At some point, you no longer need training. You need coaching to help keep you above the fray of doing silly stuff, but you no longer need a lot of training. You need to implement. You need to put the rubber to the road and get things done. And if this is you, I'm going to say, hey, look, cool, thanks for watching my video, thanks for checking it out, but make a note in the box down below, say, hey, look, I've made this mistake too, or make a note down in the box below, say, hey, I won't make this mistake. But know that at some point, you just hey, look, there's tons of sales trainers out there. There's tons of content. When I got started in 2001 in sales, there wasn't the YouTube, there wasn't podcast, you had books, right? I've got tons of books. You had books, and that's all you had. Or maybe if you had the cojones, you would email a guru and ask him a question, which, hey, what's the worst thing you're going to do? Tell me no? Ignore my email? I'd email all sorts of people. So you got to know that you have to absolutely do stuff instead of just acquiring and eating all this information. You got to put the energy to it. You got to implement. You got to go out there. You got stuff that you got to do. Okay? So make sure to implement whatever you're learning. You got one thing to do from here. Just one thing, I promise. Find the subscribe button and click on it. Every time I send out a video, you'll get an update that says Scott Bell Consultant sent out a video. You should check it out, which you should. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Aloha.